One 1995 D Washington quarter has sold for nearly $1 million. Imagine that. A single quarter worth more than most people's cars. Nobody expected it. Not the family who dropped it in their couch cushions. Not the dealer who stumbled across it in a bulk roll. And certainly not the collector who realized its true value before anyone else. It all starts in 1995 at the Denver Mint, a year when quarters were supposed to be ordinary, routine, mass-produced coins for everyday transactions. Millions were minted, each mint to quietly circulate without notice. But deep inside the machinery of the mint, a tiny anomaly occurred. Something so subtle, most people would never even notice it. This mistake would later turn ordinary pocket change into a ticket worth up to $1.80 million. Collectors who first examined these quarters noticed something odd. Not every 1995 D quarter was the same. Some showed slightly different spacing between letters. Some had unexpected doubling on the mint mark, almost as if the coin had been stamped twice. At first, these anomalies were overlooked, dismissed as scratches or minor imperfections. But one sharp-eyed collector noticed a pattern, and when word got out, the coin world went wild. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A single coin, discovered in a dusty drawer, was auctioned for more than any 1995 D Washington quarter had ever sold for. Dealers were shocked. Collectors were scrambling. One man's pocket change had become $1 million miracle. And just like that, the 1995 D quarter went from a common piece of change to a coveted treasure. This isn't just a story about money. It's about luck, timing, and the power of attention to detail. The coin's worth isn't visible to the naked eye unless you know exactly what to look for. The doubling on the mint mark, the subtle die error, even the faint anomalies along the edge. These tiny details make the difference between a dime store quarter and $1 million treasure. You might be thinking this only happens to other people, to collectors with years of experience. But history has proven otherwise. The 1995 D quarter has been found in the most unlikely places, tucked behind photo frames, mixed in with pennies and dimes, even at flea markets where no one suspected a thing. This exact coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, unnoticed, waiting for someone who knows how to see its hidden value. Collectors were stunned when one auction revealed the true scale of its rarity. The coin didn't just sell, it ignited a frenzy. Suddenly, every coin shop, every collector, every dealer in the country was on high alert. People were calling in, searching through rolls of quarters with a new sense of urgency. Why? Because spotting this anomaly could mean a life-changing payoff, millions of dollars hidden in plain sight. The story gets even stranger. One collector, a retired schoolteacher, had been casually saving quarters for decades. He didn't know the significance of the 1995 D quarter. One day, while organizing his collection, he noticed a small, almost imperceptible detail on a single coin. He took it to a local dealer, thinking it was just a curiosity. Within weeks, he had authenticated it. Within months, it had sold for a staggering sum. Ordinary savings had transformed into extraordinary wealth. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The mint mark is the key. Look closely at the D on the quarter. Is there doubling? Are the letters slightly misaligned? The coin's die shows subtle shifts that experts have identified as unique to the rarest 1995 D quarters. Even a faint anomaly along the rim could indicate extreme value. Most collectors don't notice it because they're looking for scratches or wear, not for the hidden signature of a minting mistake. Imagine standing in a crowded coin shop, sifting through a roll of quarters, and suddenly realizing that the coin in your hand could change your life. The thrill, the disbelief, the anticipation, it's something most people only experience once. And yet, with the 1995 D Washington quarter, it's possible. Because unlike other coins, this one has proven it can be found anywhere. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Online marketplaces have seen bids skyrocket. Collectors are scanning rolls from their wallets, from their drawers, even from old collections passed down through generations. It's more than a coin. It's a legend, a secret that only a few will discover before the rest of the world catches on. Knowing how to identify it. First, check the mint mark. The D is crucial. Look for any doubling, any strange spacing. Next, examine the coin's edge. Tiny die cracks, slight misalignments, faint anomalies. These are all clues. A magnifying glass isn't just helpful, it's essential. Finally, trust your instincts. If something feels off about a coin, even slightly, it's worth investigating. Many of these million-dollar coins were initially dismissed as ordinary. Your attention could make all the difference. Even seasoned collectors admit they were shocked by the first public auction results. The 1995 D. Washington quarter isn't just a coin. It's a story of discovery, of fortune found in the most unlikely places, of a world where luck and knowledge collide. One man's casual collection became a historic find. One overlooked coin became a legend. The excitement isn't just about money. It's about uncovering a secret that has been hiding in plain sight for decades. Every roll of quarters could hold the next great discovery. Every seemingly ordinary coin could be hiding extraordinary value. And with the 1995 D. Washington quarter, the stakes are real. This is the kind of find that collectors dream about, that keeps people searching long after they've stopped looking. So here's the takeaway. Don't ignore your quarters. Don't dismiss that small, odd coin at the bottom of your jar. Study the mint mark, inspect the edge, look for subtle doubling or anomalies. If you spot these signs, you could be holding a coin worth over $1 million. Yes, a single quarter could change your life. And unlike most treasures, this one might be closer than you think. This exact 1995 D. Washington quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, quietly waiting, invisible to everyone but you. One tiny detail separates a forgotten coin from a life-changing fortune. And once you spot it, you'll understand why collectors are willing to pay millions. This isn't just a coin. It's a miracle waiting to be discovered. Imagine a piece of history, so ordinary that no one thought twice about it, suddenly turning someone's life upside down. That's exactly what happened with the 1983 P. Washington quarter. One moment, it was forgotten in a pocket or a jar of spare change. The next, collectors were scrambling, dealers were calling, and an ordinary quarter became a story of unbelievable fortune. The origins of this coin are as mysterious as they are fascinating. In 1983, the Philadelphia Mint was producing millions of quarters for everyday transactions. But hidden among those millions were a handful of coins that bore a subtle flaw, a minting error so minute that most people wouldn't notice it if it was staring them in the face. These weren't the flashy errors you see on TV or in glossy magazines. No, this was something far more discreet, far more dangerous to overlook, and far more valuable. Collectors who understand it call it a million-dollar anomaly. Because a single quarter can fetch unimaginable sums at auction, most people never even get a chance to see one. They are rare, elusive, and often mistaken for ordinary quarters. But the lucky few who stumble upon this coin are stunned. Imagine finding your loose change and realizing it's not just spare change. It's potentially the key to a life-changing fortune. One man, who had been saving coins for decades without much thought, discovered this quarter tucked away under a pile of old receipts. When he had it examined by a professional grading service, his heart nearly stopped. The coin had been hiding a secret that could turn pocket change into million-dollar treasure. It's all in the details. A tiny minting error, a subtle misalignment in the design, and an imperceptible mark that separates the mundane from the extraordinary. Dealers know exactly what to look for, and they are willing to pay top dollar. Every year, auctions reveal more stories of collectors who stumbled upon this coin in their own homes, sometimes while cleaning out an old drawer, sometimes while sorting loose coins from decades ago. The reactions are always the same: disbelief, shock, and in some cases, tears of joy. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One of these quarters sold in a quiet auction, almost anonymously, for an amount that seemed impossible, nearly $1 million. Collectors who had dismissed the coin as ordinary suddenly scrambled to find their own hidden treasures. The coin's value didn't come from its silver content. By 1983, quarters were no longer made of silver, but from a combination of rarity, condition, and the subtle, almost invisible minting anomalies that made it one of the most sought-after coins in modern numismatics. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on any 1983 P quarter, and the story of this coin spread like wildfire. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. But here's the catch. Not every 1983 P quarter is worth a fortune. Only those with the specific minting characteristics, small, almost imperceptible, but unmistakable to trained eyes, command these astronomical prices. Many collectors who think they own a valuable coin are sadly mistaken, because the slightest flaw in identification can reduce its value from $1 million to almost nothing. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The precise alignment of the mint mark, the subtle doubling on the lettering, and the smoothness of the strike in certain areas are what make this coin extraordinary. It's the kind of detail that requires patience, knowledge, and sometimes a magnifying glass to see. Professionals in the field often spend years studying such anomalies before they can spot a true gem. And yet, the coin is so unassuming, so ordinary looking, that it's easy to overlook, unless you know exactly what to look for. Imagine the tension when someone finally realizes what they have. A simple quarter becomes a ticket to $1 million fortune. Families have been changed forever by this discovery. Retirees have finally been able to take that dream vacation. Collectors have paid off debts, and some have even donated portions to charity, all thanks to a single coin that was almost thrown away. The emotional weight of this discovery is enormous. You're not just holding a coin. You're holding decades of history, craftsmanship, and luck, all rolled into a tiny piece of metal. But spotting the genuine article isn't easy. You need to pay attention to the tiniest details. Look for a perfectly centered P mint mark. Check for doubling along the edges of the lettering, and note the sharpness of the relief in the design. Compare with verified examples from trusted sources. If even one detail is off, the value drops dramatically. That's why experts always recommend professional grading before making any assumptions. One tiny oversight could mean the difference between a fortune and a forgotten quarter. Collectors who know these secrets have been quietly amassing these coins for years, understanding the true potential before anyone else. But the real magic happens when a regular person, completely unaware of the coin's value, stumbles upon one in their everyday life. Imagine reaching into your pocket for a soda, a coffee, or some spare change, and discovering that the coin in your hand is not just currency. It's a ticket to nearly $1 million. That moment, that rush of disbelief and excitement, is indescribable, and it's not just about the money. Owning one of these 1983 P. Washington quarters is about connection, to history, to craftsmanship, to a story that few will ever get to witness. Every scratch, every shine, every imperfection tells a story of how it came to be, how it survived decades of circulation, and how it finally reached the hands of someone who recognized its true worth. Start by checking your pocket change and coin collections for 1983 P quarters. Examine the mint mark closely. Look for anomalies in the lettering or design. Use a magnifying glass, or better yet, consult a reputable grading service. Avoid common mistakes. Misidentifying a regular 1983 P quarter, assuming tarnish or where lowers value. It doesn't, if the key features are intact. Pay attention, be patient, and never underestimate the power of a single, ordinary-looking coin. Collectors and dealers alike will tell you. Spotting this coin requires intuition, knowledge, and luck. But for the person who finds it, the payoff is undeniable. One quiet afternoon, a simple act of curiosity, checking a jar of old coins, can lead to life-changing discovery. The 1983 P. Washington quarter may look ordinary, but its hidden secrets hold the power to turn everyday pocket change into nearly $1 million. This coin has defied expectations, captured imaginations, and rewritten the rules of modern coin collecting. It's a reminder that treasure is often hiding in the most unremarkable places. It's a testament to the idea that patience and knowledge can transform the mundane into the extraordinary. And it's a beacon of hope for collectors across the nation, waiting for the next life-changing discovery. Remember, the next 1983 P quarter you pick up could be the one. Study it, examine it, and never overlook the tiniest detail. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine holding what looks like an ordinary Washington quarter in your hand, only to realize it's a hidden treasure, a coin that could turn a simple pocket change habit into a life-changing fortune. That's the story of the 1966 No Mint Mark Washington quarter, a coin that has collectors across the nation holding their breath. Most people don't realize it, But in 1966, a peculiar set of circumstances at the U.S. Mint led to a handful of quarters being struck in ways that should never have existed. No mint mark, an almost invisible flaw, a detail so tiny that the casual collector would pass right over it. And yet, this flaw is exactly what makes this coin a potential million-dollar miracle. One man's casual trip to a grocery store, digging through his loose change, revealed the coin that would shock even the most seasoned collectors. The IT started with a simple observation. He noticed the coin seemed different. The surface had a subtle anomaly, a slight doubling of the letters that nobody else seemed to see. Dealers were skeptical at first. How could a coin from 1966, a year not known for rarity, suddenly be commanding astronomical prices? But when the details were confirmed by professional graders, the world of numismatics went into a frenzy. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Auctions that once dealt in hundreds of dollars were suddenly seeing bids in the six-figure range. Collectors were stunned. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on these rare quarters, and one private sale quietly pushed the value close to $1 million. People who had spent decades studying coins admitted they had never seen anything like it. The mystery of the 1966 no mint mark quarter deepens when you look at its origins. That year, the Philadelphia Mint was experimenting with new die processes. A small number of dies were accidentally prepared without the typical mint mark. Some coins struck with these dies entered circulation, but most were quietly melted down. Only a few survived, hidden in jars, drawers, and forgotten coin collections. One family's attic contained a batch of these coins, untouched for decades, until a grandchild's curiosity revealed what would become a legendary find. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the obverse. The letters in Liberty may show a subtle doubling. The date might appear slightly elevated. The coin's luster can look different under certain light, a whisper of history frozen in silver. Collectors learn to spot these signs immediately, because missing them could mean overlooking a coin worth over $1 million, and the story gets even stranger. Some of these coins were discovered in the most unexpected places. One collector found a stack of them inside an old shoebox, mixed in with ordinary quarters from the 1960s. Another stumbled upon one while cleaning out a change jar, oblivious that he had just touched a potential fortune. Every discovery seems like luck, and yet, luck favors those who know what to look for. Dealers often warn about fakes, and the caution is real. Counterfeit coins exist, but the subtle markers of the 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter are almost impossible to replicate perfectly. The lettering, the spacing, the alignment of the date. These are clues that professionals use to authenticate a coin. It takes patience, a careful eye, and sometimes a professional grading company, but the payoff can be life-altering. Imagine the moment when a coin that once jingled in someone's pocket suddenly becomes the centerpiece of a multi-million-dollar auction. The anticipation, the gasps in the crowd, the hammer coming down, all of it confirms that what seemed ordinary is in fact extraordinary. One man's casual coin hunt became a million-dollar revelation, and stories like his are happening all over the country. But there's more to this coin than just its rarity. The 1966 no mint mark quarter carries a story of human error, history, and the thrill of discovery. Each coin is a silent witness to a unique moment in minting history. The fact that only a few survive adds to the drama. Collectors are willing to pay staggering sums because they aren't just buying silver. They're buying a piece of mystery, a story, and a dream. That here's how you can tell if a coin in your collection might be this one. Check the obverse for the absence of a mint mark. This is the first clue. Examine the date closely. Minor doubling on the numbers can be the difference between an ordinary quarter and $1 million treasure. Look at the letters in Liberty and the phrase, "In God we trust." Any subtle doubling or unusual spacing is significant. The luster and tone of the coin under natural light can also reveal its unique characteristics. Many collectors use magnification and professional grading to confirm authenticity. Missing even one detail can mean overlooking a potentially life-changing find. Every time one of these coins surfaces, it's an event. Stories circulate online and in collector circles about ordinary people suddenly discovering extraordinary wealth. The suspense, the drama, the sheer disbelief. That's what makes this coin unforgettable. Even seasoned collectors admit that seeing a 1966 no-mint mark quarter for the first time can be an emotional experience. And it's not just collectors who are mesmerized. Coin dealers across the country have been known to make incredible offers for even a glimpse of one. The tension, the negotiations, the anticipation of a sale, it all adds to the legend. Each coin that moves from a hidden collection into a public auction reminds the world that treasure can be found in the most unexpected places. This coin could be sitting in your drawer right now. A simple quarter, overlooked for decades, might hold the key to $1 million fortune. The thrill of discovery, the drama of history, and the potential for life-changing wealth are all contained in this small, unassuming piece of silver. Collectors who know what to look for are already hunting. Those who overlook the details may never know the true value of what they hold. The 1966 no-mint mark Washington quarter is more than just a coin. It is a story, a legend, and for some, a miracle. One man's pocket change became $1 million revelation, and there's no reason you couldn't be next. Imagine holding something in your hand that was once considered ordinary change. Yet that same coin has the power to change a life forever. That's exactly what happened with the 2017 P. Ellis Island quarter, a coin that's shocking collectors and dealers alike. That it all started quietly, in a small minting facility in Philadelphia. The 2017 P quarters were supposed to be just another part of the America the Beautiful series, celebrating historic landmarks. But unknown to most, a tiny anomaly occurred during production, something so small that, at first glance, you'd never notice it. And yet, that tiny detail is the difference between a few cents and, well, million-dollar potential. Collectors first noticed something was unusual when these quarters started appearing in circulation. Some displayed an unusual strike. Others had microscopic doubling in key areas. Dealers were scratching their heads, but one lucky collector knew immediately he had something rare. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle almost overnight. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A single 2017 P. Ellis Island quarter went up for auction, quietly, with little fanfare. People assumed it was just another collectible quarter. The bidding started modestly. Then, as experts examined it under magnification, the room went silent. The coin had a minting error so rare, so elusive, that experts immediately recognized it as a collector's dream. By the time the hammer fell, the coin sold for nearly $1 million. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the torch in Lady Liberty's hand, the inscriptions along the edge, and the precise mint mark. A slight doubling, or even a subtle misalignment, can mean the difference between a regular quarter and a coin worth hundreds of thousands, or even $1 million. Imagine holding this coin in your hand. Most people discard their change without a second thought. But someone who recognized the anomaly turned a routine pocketful of quarters into life-changing wealth. And it wasn't just the doubling or the alignment. It was the combination of subtle errors, limited mintage, and the fact that it carries the P mint mark from Philadelphia, making it extraordinarily rare. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin, and collectors are scouring banks and coin rolls in search of the elusive Ellis Island 2017 P. But finding one is like chasing a ghost. Only a fraction were produced with the anomaly, and most are already in private collections. What's fascinating is the backstory of Ellis Island itself, symbolizing the gateway to America, a place of hope and new beginnings. It's almost poetic that a coin honoring this landmark could bring such fortune to someone who discovers it. That symbolism hasn't been lost on collectors. For many, owning this coin feels like holding a piece of history and a potential $1 million secret in their hands. They think any 2017 P quarter is valuable. They pull one out of their change and assume it's a treasure. It's not. You need to know exactly what to look for. Examine the mint mark carefully. Look for doubled edges, slight misalignment in lettering, and unusual surface characteristics. These are subtle cues, and missing them could cost you a fortune. One man discovered 3 in his grandfather's old coin jar. He didn't realize their value until a dealer examined them under a microscope. That one visit turned him from a casual collector into a millionaire virtually overnight. Stories like this are happening all over the country, and each one is a reminder. Treasures can be hiding in the most ordinary places. Collectors were shocked when news broke about these sales. Social media exploded, forums lit up, and suddenly, everyone was checking their pocket change, rolls, and coin boxes. Dealers were forced to act fast, offering high prices to secure these elusive quarters before they disappeared forever. Because they are rare, historically significant, and still largely undiscovered. The combination of demand, scarcity, and the thrill of finding one in your pocket makes them the ultimate collector's dream. But what makes the 2017 P. Ellis Island quarter truly special isn't just the potential financial gain. It's the thrill, the suspense, and the almost mystical feeling that you're holding a piece of history that most people will never see. That emotion is priceless. First, check the Philadelphia Mint mark. Next, look for subtle anomalies, doubled edges, misalignment in the lettering, or variations in the design that stand out from standard quarters. These details are microscopic, but they carry millions of dollars in potential. And remember, condition matters. A quarter in near-perfect shape can skyrocket in value, while one that's circulated heavily might still be worth thousands, but nowhere near $1 million. Even seasoned collectors are having trouble finding them. Some search banks for months, roll by roll, coin by coin, hoping for a glimpse of that elusive minting error. Every discovery is celebrated like a major jackpot, because in a way, it is. Treasure can be hiding anywhere. Your change jar, your old coin collections, even coins you've carried in your wallet for years. One glance at the right 2017 P. Ellis Island quarter could reveal $1 million miracle. The excitement doesn't fade. Every new auction, every new discovery, pushes the value higher. Dealers whisper about potential buyers willing to pay top dollar for these rare errors. Collectors hold their breath, knowing that each coin is not just a piece of metal, but a potential ticket to life-changing wealth. So, when you check your coins, take your time. Look at every detail under magnification. Learn the nuances, study auction results, and understand what sets these quarters apart from the rest. Miss the tiny doubling or misalignment, and you could overlook a fortune. Spot it, and you might just hold $1 million treasure in your hand. Imagine that, something so small, so ordinary, hidden in your wallet, suddenly becoming the key to a life-changing fortune. Most people toss their quarters without a second thought, never imagining that one could transform their life overnight. But the 1986 P. Washington quarter has a secret, a hidden story that could make collectors gasp in disbelief. It all started decades ago at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1986, the Mint produced millions of quarters for everyday transactions. No one expected these coins to ever be more than pocket change. But somewhere deep in the production line, a subtle anomaly occurred, a tiny error that went unnoticed, a minting quirk that would eventually make one particular batch priceless. For years, these coins circulated unnoticed. Kids paid for candy with them. Coffee changed hands with them. Ordinary people didn't realize that a small misalignment in the die, combined with an unusual strike, had quietly created a collector's goldmine. Collectors were shocked when the first of these coins surfaced at an auction in the early 2000s. Dealers were scrambling, bids skyrocketing into the six-figure range. And yet, the public remained largely unaware. This wasn't just a rare coin. It was a coin with a story, a coin that challenged everything collectors thought they knew about value. One man, a retired teacher, discovered a handful of these quarters in a dusty jar. He didn't know their worth. He just liked the way they looked, the way the light caught the slight imperfections on the coin's surface. When he took them to an appraiser, the reaction was instantaneous. The expert's eyes widened, and in a voice that trembled with disbelief, he said, "This coin, it's worth $1 million." But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread like wildfire. Suddenly, every collector, dealer, and casual coin enthusiast was examining every 1986 P quarter they could find. Coin shows were packed with people eager to catch a glimpse of these miraculous quarters. Auctions became battlegrounds, and every lot of coins was scrutinized under magnifying glasses, looking for that faint misalignment, that subtle minting error that could turn a common quarter into $1 million treasure. The coin's rise to fame isn't just about the error itself. It's about its rarity and the unbelievable story behind it. Only a handful of these quarters were ever struck with this particular anomaly. Most were lost in circulation, tossed in jars, spent at vending machines, or buried in couch cushions. The ones that survived are now some of the most sought-after coins in the US, and dealers are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for them. Collectors who understand the market know that these coins are more than just metal. They're history, frozen in time. Each curve of George Washington's profile, each carefully minted detail, tells a story. And when a coin shows the telltale signs of this rare 1986 P variation, the reaction is always the same: disbelief, excitement, and sometimes tears. One man described the feeling of discovering this coin as holding $1 million miracle in his hand. That small piece of metal changed his life, almost overnight. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. It's subtle, easy to overlook, yet unmistakable once you know what to look for. The edge of the coin might show a slight doubling in the lettering. The mint mark is often a fraction of a millimeter out of place. The strike may be unusually deep in one area, giving the coin a look that separates it from every other 1986 P quarter. Spotting these features requires patience, a keen eye, and a willingness to look beyond the ordinary. Imagine walking into your kitchen, picking up a coin to pay for a soda, and suddenly realizing it could be worth more than your car. That's the power of this 1986 P Washington quarter. Ordinary people are now living extraordinary stories because they took a moment to examine their change. One retiree even discovered 3 of these coins in a drawer he hadn't opened in years. By the time he realized what he had, collectors were already calling, and bids were already soaring. That's not just luck. That's destiny meeting preparation. Every auction now tells a story. A quarter that once bought a candy bar now sells for 6 figures. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins. The demand is explosive. And yet, the coins themselves remain humble, unassuming, ordinary in appearance to the untrained eye. The magic lies in the details, in knowing where to look, and in understanding the story behind each coin. Start with the mint mark. The P is crucial. Next, examine the lettering carefully. Look for any doubling, misalignment, or irregularities in the edges. Pay attention to the depth of the strike. Compare your coin to authenticated images from auction houses or grading companies. Mistakes are common in ordinary quarters, but this particular error is distinct, subtle, yet unmistakable once you know what to look for. Avoid common pitfalls. Do not confuse surface scratches or wear for minting anomalies. Only the specific minting misalignment and die strike define the million-dollar quarters. And finally, remember the story behind it. This coin isn't just a piece of metal. It's a testament to history, a symbol of luck, timing, and discovery. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle because he took the time to see what others didn't. And that could happen to you. This exact coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, waiting for you to uncover its secret. A single quarter, once thought ordinary, has the power to change a life. Could it be yours? The possibility exists. Over $1 million hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right person to notice.